On this edition of FAFO, the Somalis for Trump edition.
Somalia, which is barely a country, they have no anything. They just run around killing each other. There's no structure. Somebody would say, "Oh, that's not politically correct." I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries too. We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
Now, let's rewind back to the 2024 election season because some Somali voters said that the economy and social issues are driving them to vote for Trump. Economic issues and LGBTQ issues in local schools are prompting more Somali voters to choose Republican candidates, say several Somali community members. Then this article here said that Democrats lost support with Somali Minnesota voters in 2024 presidential election. Concerns about the war, the economy, and not feeling heard contributed to shifting political tide. And a lot of them then voted based on faith as well as against LGBTQ issues. Well, let's see how some of them are doing now. New immigration operation is set to target Somali migrants in the Twin Cities, Minnesota. And this one goes with the video clip that I just showed you. It says Trump calls Somalis garbage, he doesn't want them in the country. Makes me wonder if any of those Somalis have like friends or family members that are of questionable status or aren't permanent or legal residents of some type, because these raids are gonna go after them specifically. And he also called your folks garbage. I'm gonna venture a very strong educated guess and say that you did not expect the leopards to come and eat your faces. But anyways, have the day that you voted for.
Hello guys, welcome once again to the channel. I hope wherever you're watching, you're having a great time. Now, in the recent days, we have seen a tussle between Trump and American Somalis. And this tussle resulted in a tirade that Trump had during a cabinet meeting where he called American Somalis as garbage, or people coming from that country as garbage. And this, many have looked at it and they think it is a racist attack on the American Somali community living in the United States. And I think it is something that is very synonymous with Donald Trump, because we have seen him targeting communities like this. He went for the Haitian communities where he accused them of eating cats and dogs. He went for the Latinos where he accused them of bringing drugs, bad things in America, and many other communities. You've also looked at how he's been targeting African countries. For example, started saying that South Africa is persecuting white people, which is not true. He also got to talk about Nigeria, where he said that Nigerians are killing Christians, and that also is not 100% factual. So there is something that Trump has against people who don't look like them. And I think this is something that must be discussed in an in-depth manner, because right now, Somalis in America are a worried lot because ICE has been unleashed on them. They are going to talk to them, and they are going to, in fact, if any Somali exists in America in an undocumented state, they're going to be deported. We are also understanding that the temporary protective state that some Somalis have always had over the years in the United States is going to be cancelled. So this thing is spiraling down to almost every minority that lives in America. Could it be that at one time, Trump might just start saying that Black Americans are garbage and they need to get out of America? Is this something that is possible? I guess if we look at what is happening right now, I don't know where Trump will hold his limit, because this is how he always operates. He starts with accusing you with some things and then finds a reason, and that really becomes a serious issue. But then again, on the other flip side, I tend to also understand where he's coming from, because there has been this report that has come out that Somali community in Minnesota have been involved in a series of welfare fraud that has reaped America of billions of dollars. And that really can anger you if you're a president. So I don't know whether this is what has angered him more, because for him, he thinks that a lot of money is being leaked out and people who are undeserving are taking up this money, which should be going to genuine Americans who are suffering or who need something to help them. So I don't know how things are going to pan out, but many Americans are talking about it. White Americans are talking about it. In fact, some Black Americans are also worried. They're saying that if this is how Trump has begun, Could it be that we are next? I wanted to listen to some of the complaints that people have made over the social media about this entire story of how Trump is targeting the Somali-American community in Minnesota and the entire country. Let's watch. I shall come back in the end with my commentaries.
For the last 11 months, we've been saying that this administration is not only coming for undocumented people. They're not only coming for people who don't have status in this country, that they are coming for every single person, that they want to get rid of all black and brown people in this country, that this fight is not just with immigrants, it's with all of us. No one believed me. No one believed any of us. Right? It's because they told us, no, we're only coming for the illegals, the ones who broke the law to get into this country, the criminals, the fraudsters, the ones who are a threat to your public safety. You know those are the ones we're coming for? No. If you have an accent, they're coming for you. If you don't look like you're an American, they're coming for you. If you dress differently, they're coming for you. And if you don't believe me, fine. Don't take my word for it. Watch the next video. Take a look at how they treat actual American citizens who, by the way, have their documentation physically with them.
I don't know. These guys just randomly take me off. I'm a citizen of this country, and they take me off and they hold me. They detain me here. I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea. These guys are so stupid. I don't know what they're talking.
They check what they want to see.
My passport. I give my ID, I give my passport ID, everything. They didn't want to listen to me. They want to talk to their supervisors.
And they said they take interview. I don't know why they take interview here.
They asking me, have you been interviewed or what? I said, no, I haven't been interviewed. They said they're going to take interview. And soon as you come, they said it's going to be hot. So they just run off. They took it off. Because of you guys, they just, they didn't want you to involve with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I get your name, or do you want to give that?
My name is Ali.
My Somali students are not a problem. Racism is a problem. And my Somali friends are not a problem. Islamophobia is a problem. My Somali neighbors are not a problem. The intersection of white supremacy and capitalism is a problem. The president's rhetoric about Somali people is false, disgusting, divisive, racist, Islamophobic. The list goes on and on. The point of these raids in Minneapolis is to harass and terrorize black people and Muslim people. That's it. That's the entire point, right? There is no reason to be going after the entire Somali community. It has to be about Ilhan Omar. I think it has to be, because she's effective, she's genuine, she has the support and love of her constituents, and the Trump regime just can't stand that. Never mind the fact that she's never taken a cent of Israeli money, and that she was an adamantly against the genocide in Palestine from the very beginning. Ooh!
Donald Trump called Somalians and sitting Congresswoman Ilhan Omar garbage in a racist rant today from his cabinet meeting.
You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other. And we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain, and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much.
Please tell me how this is acceptable from a sitting president of the United States of America. Wow.
Breaking news, Donald Trump just went after Somali-Americans in one of the most racist, abhorrent rants in his entire political career. Take a listen to what he said. Quote, Somalians ripped off the state of Minnesota. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country. I'll be honest with you. Some will say that's not politically correct. I don't care. Their country is no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking garbage into our country. Folks, Donald Trump is completely detached from reality. He has no idea what he's talking about, but I do. I'll tell you that he's going after American citizens who are of Somali descent, many of whom came to this country in the 90s and have been here for decades as American citizens, contributing to the state of Minnesota, contributing to our country's economy. And Trump is picking them as his next target, the next boogeyman. He wants you to think that if you're living in Minnesota, it's your Somali neighbor that's the problem, for the reason why you don't have health care, you don't have a good paying job, when in reality, it's the Trump administration's extremist policies that are offering you no relief, no respite in this terrible economic environment.
Hi, I'm Niall Stanage. I'm the White House columnist for The Hill. It seems to me we're seeing yet again a kind of degradation of language in American politics, and it seems to me also there should be more pushback against that. President Trump yesterday at the White House describing Somalians and possibly other migrant groups, his syntax was typically unclear, as garbage, going on to describe Ilhan Omar, the sitting congresswoman, also with that term, and what he termed her friend. The proximate reason for this is the story about welfare fraud in Minnesota, perpetrated predominantly by members of the Somali community there. And of course, Omar herself represents a district in Minnesota. I'm not, of course, suggesting there was no outrage about this. There plainly was. There you see Peter Baker quoting a piece from his own paper referring to the unapologetic bigotry of Trump's remarks. But it does seem to me that there has been some level of desensitization or normalization of this kind of language. Even if you go back to Trump's first term, there was a much bigger firestorm when he was reported to have referred to certain nations, all of them, of course, with majority black populations, as shithole countries. This is also not the first time he's targeted Omar, of course. In 2019, he said of her and fellow members of the so-called squad that they should go back to the places from where they had come. For what it's worth, all of those female members of Congress he was targeting were also women of colour. The only person who'd been born outside the United States was Omar, and of course she is an American citizen. Omar did strike back, as you see there, calling what she describes as Trump's obsession with her creepy and suggesting he should seek help. But none of that, I think, really eliminates or eradicates the issue of calling people from a particular nation or nations garbage. Language like that from an American president used to be unacceptable. Now, apparently, it's not.
Now, listen, y'all. I know the Democrats finna be so upset with what Trump said about them Africans. But I ain't gonna lie. I like what he said about them Africans, about them Somalis out there in Minnesota. I do like it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm sorry, I do like it. It touched my soul what he said about them people. What I always said about these black immigrants or immigrants that come to this country and complain about this country. How you come from a third world country and have all these negative things to say about America, but you come from filth? It stinks out there. That's what Donald Trump said. That's what I always say. It stink out there. I always say that all the time. It ain't paradise either out there. That's what he said. Now listen, I ain't no Trump supporter, but I do like what he's doing with this immigration thing. And I'm riding with him on that 100%. That's the only thing since I've been alive that I can understand and I can agree with. This immigration thing. These immigrants been very hostile and very disrespectful. But shout out to Trump for saying what he said. Now listen, don't y'all come over here, Democrats, like I'm the Trump supporter. I don't like neither one of them motherfuckers. But I do like what he's doing with these immigrants. I promise I do.
And they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, has Maduro offered to leave?
Yes. Trump calls Somalis garbage. Vice President J.D. Vance banged the table in encouragement. You're damn right, they're garbage. Like, alright guys, if Somalia is just a piece of garbage, why do you keep using my tax money to drop bombs on them? For people who think that Somalia is worthless, you guys sure do spend a lot of time and energy drone striking them.
I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason.
Yeah, maybe one of those reasons is that you keep dropping bombs on them, you idiot. President Trump, let me ask you a question. Do you think that bombing Somalia causes more people to stay there or to flee? I know this is a difficult concept for you to understand, but if you bomb people's homes, then that makes them more likely to leave their homes. Then they come to America where you scapegoat them for all of our problems that are actually being caused by our corrupt government and your Wall Street buddies. You can blame it on Somalis all you want, but you guys are the ones running our country straight into the ground.
These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain.
You say that all the Somalis do is bitch and complain, but what are you doing here? You're running the government, but you can't do shit for working class people, which is why your popularity rankings are tanking, and then you try to blame it on Somalis or Muslims or whatever. People like Donald Trump.
In case you did not know, Somalis are notorious for looting, stealing, their piracy, very well known for. They marry children, they don't have women's rights, women can't vote. And when you import a bunch of them into the middle of Minnesota in our country, they're going to do the same thing. They are going to steal. They are going to... It's so crazy that we've done this. They're not going to assimilate. They are just going to find a stronghold of a shared community of values that they have, Somali values in a Western culture, and they're going to do the same thing. They're going to cut off female genitalia because 99% of Somali women have done that, or I guess had that done to them. They are going to steal. Again, what do you think of when you think of Somalia? Piracy. Which is exactly what we are seeing, because in case you did not know, there is currently a massive investigation into this Medicaid fraud scheme amongst the Somali community in our country. They're making fraudulent claims and they are stealing from the taxpayers. They're stealing from our government. And if that wasn't bad enough, it has been reported that we are the largest funder of Al-Shabaab, their terror group back in Somalia. Yeah, they've been defrauding the US government and then sending it to our enemy. And we are at work paying for it. Calling this out, it's not racist, it's not xenophobic, it's not being anti-Somali. It's saying, hey, I actually think Western culture, the freedoms that we have, are superior. I would much rather live in a country where I have a voice, where I can vote, where my genitals aren't removed, where I could wear what I want, practice what religion I want. I think that's a superior way of life. And the people in Somalia do not think that's a superior way of life. They're coming here to change it and expecting anything else from a group of people that have not changed in their home country and then bringing them here and thinking they're going to change here. It's insane. It's insanity. And it's going to be the end of our freedoms. We cannot tolerate a group of people who do not tolerate our freedoms. It's not racist. That's not xenophobic to say. It's the truth, and we better start saying it. And the option of doing nothing about this isn't there. Bye-bye. Thank you, Trump.
So aside from her seeming like she was sounding like a Chinese movie because the audio didn't seem like it was synced with her lips, that's on her side, not on my side. I think that some of it is true and then some of it is embellished, right? And this is why we have to have conversations about these type of things, because yes, they are bringing their culture over here. Yes, I have been to Minneapolis and I've witnessed it with my own eyes. Yes, I've spent over a week and seen it with my own eyes. At the same time, it's difficult for me to say that you got to get rid of them and kick them out if the majority of them are American citizens. I believe in the rule of law. I believe in operating by the Constitution. I also don't believe in birthright citizenship. And I believe that people that are not supposed to be here in the United States of America should be removed if they are an illegal migrant on the soil of the United States of America. Now, what we also need to do is change the rules by which they are leveraging American law to continue to come over here in the United States of America. So, for example, Trump did a great job by removing temporary protective status, TPS, from Somalis who are over in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they have literally overtaken Minneapolis.
You've heard what Americans have to say about the entire situation, and Trump seems so determined to ensure that America remains an only white country. And I don't know whether he will succeed in this, because he's so determined in this agenda that he's been following for many years. Let's wait and see how everything will pan out. But we have to call him out for the decision that he used. We have to call him out for the derogatory terms that he used against Somalis. No human is garbage. The other time, in his last term, he talked about African countries and he said that those are shithole countries. I don't think that is how you need to refer to other countries. He has also denied South Africa invitation to the next G20 summit that is supposed to be undertaken in the United States. So Trump just has issues with minority groups. I don't know whether it is about him feeling so entitled about the resources that he's getting and everything that comes with it, but let's wait and see how things will be at the end of the day. So, the derogatory remark by President Donald Trump labeling Somali immigrants as garbage during a White House cabinet meeting on December 2nd has ignited profound agitation among Somali-Americans, a community that has long navigated the treacherous waters of displacement, resettlement, and cultural adaptation in the United States. For many in the diaspora, estimated over 100,000 in Minnesota alone, the largest such population outside Somalia, this law is not merely an offhand insult, but a visceral assault on their humanity and hard-won sense of belonging. Having fled the devastation of Somalia's civil war, famine, and terrorism in 1990s and beyond, these individuals and families arrived as refugees seeking refuge under U.S. humanitarian programs, only to build lives around entrepreneurship, education, and civic engagement. Trump's words echo the dehumanizing tropes historically wielded against marginalized groups, reducing resilient survivors to disposable waste and evoking the raw pain of exclusion. This agitation manifests in community gatherings, social media outcries, and statements from leaders like those in Minneapolis, where Somali-owned businesses and mosques serve as hubs of cultural pride, now shadowed by renowned fear of vilification. Compounding this emotional wound in the historical backdrop of Trump's xenophobic rhetoric, which has repeatedly singled out African immigrants, including Somalis, as burdens rather than assets to the nation, from the 2017 shithole countries comment dismantling Haiti and African nations to his fixation on Representative Ilan Omar, born in Somalia and naturalized citizen, as a symbol of supposed disloyalty. Trump's pattern has fostered a climate of suspicion and othering. Somali-Americans, many of whom voted overwhelmingly against him in 2024, feel this latest outburst as a targeted escalation, especially post-election, signaling that their loyalty to America is perpetually in question. The remark's timing, amid reports of federal immigration crackdown, amplifies the sense of betrayal. It arrives as just families prepare for holidays like Eid, when communal bonds are reaffirmed. Agitation here is not abstract but personal. Parents worry about children absorbing such slurs in schools, professionals fear workplace discrimination, and elders recall the very instability in Somalia that Trump mocks as stinking, which forced their exodus. This rhetoric doesn't just sting, it erodes the fragile trust in an American dream that many have pursued through sheer grit, turning pride in their heritage into a liability. At its core, the agitation stems from the stark dissonance between Trump's portrayal and the tangible contribution of Somali Americans who have woven themselves into the fabric of US society despite systemic barriers. In Minnesota, Twin Cities, Somali entrepreneurs run thriving markets, cab companies, and tech startups, while community members volunteer in food banks and advocate for affordable housing efforts that bolster local economies and social cohesion. To be branded garbage dismisses these realities, implying inherent worthlessness and justifying discrimination, which resonates with broader anti-black sentiments in America. For younger Somali second-generation citizens who identify as both Americans and Somali, this slur disrupts their dual identity, fostering alienation and mental health strains already heightened by Islamophobia and racial profiling. Community responses such as vigils organized by groups like the Minnesota Somali Justice Project channel this agitation into calls for solidarity, but the underlying heart lingers as a reminder of precarious acceptance, where gratitude for refuge curdles into resentment when political expediency demands scapegoats. The simultaneous unleashing of ICE agents, with reports of up to 100 officers descending on Somali neighborhoods in Minneapolis and St. Paul's for a high-priority deportation sweep, intensifies this agitation into outright terror, blurring the lines between rhetoric and action. Targeted at undocumented individuals with final removal orders, but potentially ensuring those in limbo, such as TPS holders from Somalia. The operation set to launch imminently evokes memories of family separations and midnight raids that tore apart communities during Trump's first term. Somali Americans, even those fully documented, report heightened anxiety, children skipping schools, workers avoiding public transit, and mosques bolstering scrutiny. Local leaders, including mayors Jacob Frey and Marvin Carter, have decried the move as a political theater to terrorize, vowing non-cooperation with ICE while urging residents to know their rights. This federal incursion feels like an invasion of safe havens, transforming vibrant enclaves like Cedar Rivers into zones of siege, where everyday routine become laced with dread. Whether this ICE deployment foreshadows broader targeting of Black Americans as a minority group is a chilling prospect, one that many Somali advocates frame as a harbinger of escalated racialized enforcement under the Trump administration. While ostensibly focused on immigration status, the operation's ethnic specificity, zeroing on Somalis amid Trump's personal vendetta, mirrors historical patterns of selective policing against black and brown bodies, from stop and frisk to the war on drugs, where illegality serves as proxy for race. Critics, including immigrant rights organizations, warn that success here would embolden similar sweeps in black communities nationwide, perhaps under guises like crime reduction or welfare fraud probes, disproportionately ensnaring African Americans and Afro-Caribbeans. With Trump's pledges for mass deportations and ending TPS extensions, this Minnesota action may indeed signal a blueprint, weaponizing federal resources to intimidate minority groups, erode civil liberties, and stroke white grievance. For Somali Americans, the agitation transcends the slur, crystallizing fears of a resurgent nativism that views black immigration and immigrants not as equals but as existential threat, demanding vigilance and alliance building to avert a darker trajectory for the marginalized people. That is what is happening, and I think Trump has said what he has to say, but Americans must come out. Remember that quote where it was attributed to German pastor called Martin Niemöller, said in his poem that first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. I think this is what exactly Black community in United States and every other minority group must understand. We saw when they came for the Latinos, people thought they were safe, but everybody is being targeted right now. Minority groups must come together and chart a unity against this kind of activities that might make them have an unfair living condition within the United States. Thank you for watching till this moment. If you are coming across this channel for the first time, please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share. Thank you. Let's meet on the next one.